Sometimes a European metal band's music is so good, you'll forgive them for the worst lyrics possible. Such is the case with Vhäldemar. Vhäldemar came around in the early 2000s to fill the void left by Manowar when Manowar fell from grace. They combined traditional metal with power and speed and add a very potent dose of sharp, precise neoclassicalism to the mix. Today on Czar's Top Shelf, we're going to listen to Bach's Invention and Old King's Vision Part 3 from Vhäldemar's third album, Metal of the World. I first heard about Vhäldemar through Sentinel Steel. And if you don't know, Sentinel Steel was an online and a print heavy metal mail order catalog in the early 2000s. It was run by a guy named Dennis Gulby. And what made Sentinel Steel so special is that Dennis actually listened to all the bands that he sold. By doing that, he kind of served as a quality filter for all these different bands. If your band wasn't very good, he simply wouldn't sell them in his catalog. And when you got a copy of it, or if you read it on his website, it was almost like reading a magazine, because next to each release, he'd put a little excerpt, almost like a mini review of the album after he listened to it. And if he recommended it, which he normally would, he would tell you why he recommended it. So I remember Vhäldemar's debut album, Fight to the End. I bought this from Dennis at Sentinel Steel, as I bought just about everything in the early 2000s. He got a lot of my money, I'll tell you that. I bought it because he recommended them, saying that they sounded sort of like Gamma Ray meets Manowar. And that piqued my interest. And when I listened to them, yeah, they do. They sound like a Gamma Ray Manowar hybrid band. But there's more to Vhäldemar than just that, especially in their first few albums. There's a neoclassical spirit that runs through all the compositions and the performances. And in the early 2000s, that's nothing special. I mean, like half of the bands that came out, especially in the power metal genre, I mean, they all said that they had a neoclassical influence. They were all claiming those rights. But Vhäldemar was different because, yeah, they did. You could hear it, but it wasn't very scholarly. It wasn't too rehearsed. The neoclassical guitar solos and the songwriting, it didn't have the same sort of autistic feel that you get from a lot of people that just practice guitar all day long. So the guitar work is very accurate, it's very precise, but at the same time, there's a savagery, there's a brutal, powerful spirit that is not lost when playing something that is obviously very well rehearsed and composed. Since then, I've purchased everything that Vhäldemar has released. Their second album, I Made My Own Hell, is absolutely killer. I definitely recommend this. After that, they came out with Metal of the World. This is the third album, and this is the one we're going to listen to a little bit from here in a minute. This is the Storm Spell Records release. There's a couple different covers you'll find on this. This is a limited edition. It's numbered. This is number 51 of 1,000. So I kind of like having that special edition version. I think the track listing's the same, but it's just kind of neat to have a different cover than you might see if you look this one up nowadays. All of their stuff is great though. Even their new album, it just came out a couple months ago, Sanctuary of Death, is fantastic. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. What makes Vhäldemar great, I mean, there's a lot of things that make them great, but their sound has evolved over the years, but it's remained true to the spirit that they started with. And I think that spirit is really due to the two key players that have remained constant throughout. Carlos Escudero is the vocalist. There's no one else that sounds like Carlos. His vocals, they've got the brutality of a death metal singer, but his vocals are clean. He can carry a tune. He's got pitch perfect vocal control, but his voice is gravelly and it's just, there's just a gristle to his voice, especially when he screams. It's very unique. And then Pedro J. Monge is the guitarist and the songwriter. So Pedro and Carlos together, they were the two that started the band, and they've remained constant all throughout. That's really the key to the Vhäldemar sound. A fantastic duo. Even though the other players have changed throughout the years and they've never had anyone in the band that didn't do a great job, Carlos and Pedro, they really are the keys that make Vhäldemar shine. So the two songs we're going to listen to from Metal of the World are Bach's Invention, which is kind of like a 45-second segue song, but it feeds right into Old King's Vision Part 3. I'm telling you that now because I want to show you something. So here, we're looking at the United States, a map of the United States. I'm going to zoom in because I could tell you exactly where I was when Bach's Invention kicked in and where I was when it transitioned into Old King's Vision Part 3. So we're going into Utah, which just, as a matter of fact, it's just the greatest of the once United States of America. Can't beat Utah. But we're in the town of Ogden, and this here is the 21st Street Pond. So there's a massive bike trail and a running trail that goes all around this pond. It goes all through Ogden. You could run for 20, 30 miles if you were able to. I never could, but I ran as far as I could nonetheless. Anyways, I was coming up the trail here along the stream, right where it makes a fork. You can go left or right. At this fork where I chose left or right, that's where Bach's Invention kicked in. I remember it vividly. About halfway around the pond is when it transitioned into Old King's Vision, and the parking lot is over here where you see this little 21st Street Pond indicator. This is the parking lot. I would have normally just finished my run at that point, got in my Jeep and went home, but Old King's Vision was so infectious. It is such an exhilarating song. I kept going. I made another couple loops around the pond as a result of that. So like that, those two songs are so vividly tattooed into my consciousness. I could recall that experience right now. That's how, I don't know if any music has had that same sort of impact on you or not, but there's certain songs that I know exactly where I was when I heard them, and I could replay that almost as if I'm back in time at that same location hearing those songs. It's really remarkable. So yeah, these two songs are really important to me, and maybe they're not Vhäldemar's best songs. I'll tell you that too. I think a lot of their songs are catchier. There's not much of a hook to these songs. But because they have such a personal resonance with me, that's why I wanted to make these the first Vhäldemar songs that I include on Czar's Top Shelf. All right, a couple things you need to know before we play the music. So Bach's Invention, as you could guess from the title, it's a combination of variations of different Bach pieces all woven together into one song. It's a unique composition, but Pedro J. Monge is obviously paying tribute to Bach by putting this on the album. And it serves as a segue into Old King's Vision Part 3. Now, every Vhäldemar album has an Old King's Vision song on it. They're all unique. It's not like they're rehashing the same song over and over again. They're totally different songs, but they're kind of like different chapters of a story. What makes this one especially unique, though, is that the lyrics for Part 3 are all comprised of different past Vhäldemar songs and lyrics from other albums. So it's not going to make a lot of sense. I'm just going to be honest with you. I could lie to you and I could say these lyrics don't make any sense because they're sort of shoehorning different album and song titles and stuff into a new song, kind of like Manowar did with Blood of the Kings, right? If I told you that, I'd be lying. That's not the truth. Vhäldemar's lyrics aren't good. Just like every other European power metal band, 99% of them, they prioritize the sound of the words over the meaning of the words. I'm a stickler for stuff like that. So you're probably good. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to listen to this song and be like, that Zaremba guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's always criticizing these other bands' lyrics. He calls himself a writer, and then he's playing this song for us that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. All that's kind of true, but Vhäldemar's music is so damn good in every other way, I can excuse the lyrics. Whether this song was a combination of past song titles or not, any of their songs, if you just read the lyrics, they're terrible. But it doesn't matter because the songs themselves are so wonderfully composed and so beautifully performed and so savage and so goddamn true heavy metal that they could be singing Pig Latin. I wouldn't even care. It wouldn't make any difference to me at all. So I'm just telling you all that because I don't want you to think I'm some kind of nut for playing the song for you. Okay, so here's what we got. We're going to listen to it. I'm going to pause it every so often to tell you some of the things going through my head. There's not going to be a lot to analyze. This is like a song to listen to experience, not really to scrutinize. But I will tell you a few things that come to mind as we play it. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Here we go. Here comes Bach's Invention and Old King's Vision Part 3. I love that transition from the erudite neoclassical to like that just barbaric speed metal of that song. This song, the tempo, they established a tempo right away. There's a bridge later on, but other than that bridge, it maintains this tempo throughout the whole thing. It is just from start to finish speed metal brutality. All right, don't let the lyrics dissuade you from liking this song. Don't let that be a hindrance to you. If you're familiar with their past work, these lyrics make sense because they're referencing, I'm going to put on the screen, you'll see what they're referencing with the lyrics. All different song titles from the past. So I think it's cool. I'm telling you now, I'm going to retract what I said earlier. I think these lyrics are cool. I don't think they're bad at all. I think they're great. Let's keep listening to them. Carlos Escudero's voice, man. There's no one else that could sing these songs. Like he's one of those singers, and Vhäldemar is one of those bands that I simply can't imagine anyone else doing this. He's simply unhinged in that last little section there. He off the hook, crazy, but he's still singing. He's screaming and singing simultaneously. Really, this sounds silly to say, but that is so unique to heavy metal. Guys do one or the other. He does them both simultaneously. The other thing to mention here, the drumming. It sounds like a machine. This is not a machine. The rhythm section of all of Vhäldemar's songs are just really, really meticulous. But they put in fills. The fills sound like they're composed. So the drum fills and the what's the word I'm thinking of? I think flourishment is the word I'm looking for. I'm at a loss for words at the moment. But there's just like a blasting with the drum fills. So even though the rhythm section is very, very in lockstep with a metronome. It's like a machine. There's a human touch that comes through with the fills that just keep you reminded of the fact that this is not a drum machine. This is a human being playing drums so accurately that he sounds like a machine. It's probably the best way to think of it. There's certainly a Scott Columbus influence happening here, but I think this is kind of what Manowar was hoping to achieve by giving those trigger drums to Scott Columbus that he whined about for so long. Vhäldemar is just doing it better. Okay.
Searching for my dreams since I was a child, ready for another fight. Searching for my dreams, this is a beginning. I sound me the way. Sun goes down, moon races strong. Sun has come, our sound is magic and black. Music plays, son of the king. Give me some
The bridge you're going to hear now is great. The solo that comes after it is one of my all-time favorite guitar solos in heavy metal. I love this solo so much. Here, just listen to this bridge and solo. It's the best part of the song. It's one of Vhäldemar's highest moments, in my opinion. I love that solo so much. That's got to be top shelf solo in metal for me. It's not the most complicated thing. And this is the same compliment I will pay to classic Ross the Boss. Pedro J. Monge doesn't play the most difficult guitar licks, but he plays the right ones. There's a sincerity in his performance that's missing in so many other guitarists. You could feel every note that he's playing. And the solo we just heard, it was obviously composed. You know, there's a certain amount of spontaneity, there's a certain amount of improvisation in his inflections on the guitar, but the notes and everything like that are very much composed. And I find that fascinating. A lot of times if someone composes a guitar solo or a keyboard solo or any kind of instrument solo, when it comes time to perform it, a lot of times they lose the magic that they would have had if it was strictly improvisational. You get the best of both worlds with Pedro J. Monge's guitars. So I love that so much. We're going to just let it play out from here all the way to the end of the song. It's a short song, so we're almost through it. Here we go. Right on. That's Vhäldemar for you. I don't know what else I could say. This band has always just hit a sweet spot for me. I'm a complete sucker for this kind of thing. I love the combination of the brutal, savage, full speed ahead, no bullshit, true heavy metal with the excellence in composition and songwriting, the sincere human performance behind all of it, the wonderful solos, all of this kind of stuff. It just all comes together to form Vhäldemar and makes them a very, very special band for me. I don't know if you'll appreciate them to the same degree that I do, but I hope at least if you've watched the video to this point, you could come away with understanding my appreciation for Vhäldemar. So thank you for watching Czar's Top Shelf, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.